Hi guys, so I wanted to talk to you today about this machine called the Baby Brezza. The Baby Brezza is basically a machine that's supposed to facilitate making formula. It's all automatic. It's basically like an espresso machine but for babies, which when you're making formula all the time, it's tedious. You're shaking it, you have a screaming baby, you just need the formula made, and this machine basically guarantees that you'll have even like distribution of the formula, so no clumps. It guarantees that the right amount will be added depending on what formula you have, and it's overall just, it looks like a great machine, so I'm super excited to try it. So this is what the machine looks like. It literally looks like an espresso machine where you would put your coffee cup in here. So you have the top part in here where you're going to put your formula. You have your container reservoir for water. You obviously want sterilized water, so you need to boil it. You have the pieces that come with it. So you have the 3 little dials inside. You have this thing that pushes the formula. And I'm going to put it together, and then I'm going to turn it on for you guys so you guys can see how it works. So you start off with this. This here is basically what controls the opening and the dispensing of the formula. You can see that there's tiny little numbers here. What you do is you actually go on the Baby Brezza website, and based on the type of formula you have, it'll tell you what little number needs to appear in that hole. So I use a hypoallergenic formula for my babe. It's called Nutramigen. So according to their website, it needs to be on number 4. So I make sure the number 4 is in there. And this piece goes first. So you can see inside there's like a little like star. So there we go, that's in. Next, I'm going to add this little piece here. This little piece has a little plastic attachment, and the Baby Brezza came with an extra one. So I'm gonna add that, and you have to make sure that this basically gets pushed under. So there was a warning, by the way, that I want to mention when I opened the box, that all of the pieces needed to be thoroughly washed and needed to be completely dry. Completely dry because if it's not, as you can imagine, if there's any water in any of these little pieces, once you add the formula, it's gonna clump and you can have bacteria build and you can have a sick baby, which none of us want. So lastly, there's this piece, which again has that little star. So we're gonna put that on top. So now that it's all secure, we are basically ready to put in the formula. You have this little funnel here underneath that I washed and I put in. When you're using your Brezza, this little funnel here is what you need to remove every 4 bottles or once a day, depending how much you're feeding, and you need to clean this. It's really important because otherwise your machine can actually clog, which can, number 1, cause not enough formula to come out, and number 2, can cause, bacteria buildup, which you don't want. You also need to take a cloth, and underneath this part right here, you need to actually wash it with a dry cloth, not damp, because again, you don't want anything moist near your formula, but you need to do that every 4 bottles or once a day. So this is good. We're gonna push that in. I'm going to fill the tank with boiled water, which I already did. So we're gonna fill that. I'm not sure if I have enough to fill the entire reservoir, but we'll put in as much as I have. Okay, so that's pretty good. So you can see here that the reservoir, it holds 50 ounces or 1.5 liters, so that's enough for quite a few bottles. So you're not having to boil water all the time. You can probably boil it once every day or once every 2 days. And then next, we're going to add the formula. So I have a little bit left in this can. I'm gonna add it. I then have a brand new bottle here. So you'll see on the front there's a max line, so we just wanna make sure it doesn't go over the max line. So I don't know if the whole thing's gonna fit. Okay, so I'll put that in for now just to show you guys how it works. You don't have to worry if it's not straight on the top. The lid that goes on top of that, you'll notice has these little 3 prongs, and these 3 prongs, as it turns, it basically like levels out all the formula. So you just wanna make sure that it's over the minimum line, which is there. So we're gonna put on the lid. Perfect. We're gonna add the lid to the water reservoir. Okay, so now our machine is assembled. Time to put in the bottle and to see this baby work its magic. So I basically adjusted this bottom part here, which is detachable, so you can take it in and out to fit the height of bottle that I have, because obviously I don't want it splashing everywhere. So I have my bottle in the machine now. At the top here, you have tons of little, you can choose. So once you figure out what size of bottle you have, you're gonna choose and you're gonna pick the perfect height for your bottle. You don't want the liquid to splash around, so I would say that that's a little bit too low. I'm gonna put in the higher one. There we go, that's perfect. At the back of the machine, over there, there's like a little switch, so we're gonna turn on the switch. So the machine now is on. This little light here, when it's flashing yellow, it means that the temperature isn't yet warm. So you don't have to make your bottles with warm water. I don't. I like just room temperature, which is what this is now. So I'm going to use it right now. You can see at the top here, oh, the light's a little in the way, you can choose how much you want in your bottle. So you have 60 mLs or 2 ounces, 4 ounces, 6 ounces. I'm gonna say that I want 120 just to show you guys how it works. And then you press the green button. And the machine, you can see here, it's gonna start turning. And then in the bottom, out comes your formula and your water. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is as easy as it gets to make formula with the Baby Brezza. The bottle is done. You can see inside it is clump free. It is, I mean, as well mixed as it's gonna get. There's not a ton of bubbles. I mean, when you're mixing it by hand, you generally have air bubbles everywhere. This is the Baby Brezza, guys. I find it super easy. I don't know why everyone wouldn't have one. It's not a fortune, especially if you are feeding your baby, 4, 5, 6 bottles a day. I definitely recommend the Baby Brezza. So we originally got the Baby Brezza because Zane is super gassy. He was a little bit colicky in the beginning, and it was basically very important that the formula always be mixed perfectly. He was basically eating every hour. We needed him on a hypoallergenic formula because he was lactose intolerant. He was allergic to basically everything I was eating in breast milk. So we really wanted something that, when you're feeding a baby every hour in the middle of the night, we wanted something quick. I was alone. My husband was only able to take 2 weeks off work. So every hour I was basically feeding this baby in the middle of sleep sometimes. It's hard to keep your eyes open. This machine has really, really been a lifesaver. I definitely recommend it to anyone who's looking for something to just speed things up. Anyone, people will say, well, shaking a bottle, is it really that hard? No, but depending on what type of formula you have, the one we have, hypoallergenic, I literally need to shake for 6 or 7 minutes. And then by then the bottle is so filled with gas bubbles, I have to wait until they all go away. Otherwise, he's just basically burping and throwing up everything. So when I have a screaming baby who, is starving and it's the end of the world because he doesn't have his food, you can imagine that making him wait 6 or 7 minutes while I shake it, another 3 or 4 minutes for the bubbles to go away, 10 minutes of a screaming baby is a lot to deal with. So if there's anything out there that can facilitate your life and you can afford it, why not try? I'm definitely a sucker for, I'm gonna call them gimmicks. Anything that's out there that promises to make my life easier, I'm the first one to buy it, try it. Doesn't always pay off. I feel with the Baby Brezza, it definitely has, and I recommend this product to anyone who's been thinking about it. Thanks.